Rochelle, if you could just go ahead and do roll call.
Sure. Vice President Tresson.
Here.
Director Lewis.
Here.
Director Smelser.
Here.
Director Cox.
Yes.
And President Wilkins.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Okay, Dick, is there a particular method you want us to use to move over to closed session?
We have
Dan,
to do
first we need
public
to do
comment.
item 2 to authorize the video conference meeting.
Oh, I thought we did that at our board meeting. That was good for a month.
It is good for a month. I have a hard time counting to 30, so I just recommend that the board do it at the beginning of every meeting.
I'll make the motion that we go to a Zoom meeting for this meeting. AB 360, I guess it's called. So
361.
I'll second.
361. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll take roll
Motion
call.
and second. Is there any public comment?
We got to vote
I
on
have
it.
to take roll call on that item,
I understand, but we have to take public comment too.
Right.
on this one. Pippin, do you have a public comment regarding AB 361?
Sorry, no, I raised my hand for the next one. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead if no other directors have questions. Okay. Vice President Tresson,
Yes.
Director Lewis,
Yes.
Director Cox,
Yes.
Director Smelser,
Yes.
and President Wilkins.
Present.
Roll call, motion approved. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Rochelle. Next on our agenda is public comment. So it's an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board for up to 5 minutes for any items not on the agenda.
Okay. Pippin,
Great. Can you guys hear me?
there you go. Yes, you have 5 minutes starting now.
Perfect. Thanks. First, I'd like to thank you. And then I kind of have a question. I'm trying to figure out how to be more effective talking to the board. And I guess specifically about this item, I feel like there's a little bit of no winning from my perspective, right? If people complain like I did, like I do, and like Phil has, the board that assumes that we're troublemakers and, rationalizes all sorts of things, including in Phil's case, firing him. And then if no one complains, then the board assumes everything's okay. So I'm just, I'm looking for a little bit of input. I know you can't provide that now, but generally. And I feel a little bit like I've been trying to tell you that things weren't good and there were problems and that they came all the way from the top for a long time. But I feel like it hasn't gotten through. That message hasn't been conveyed or hasn't been received or something. I would say that none of us were surprised by this judge's ruling. This is what was bound to happen. Eventually, someone was going to go to the trouble of calling TTSA's bluff, and a third-party, unbiased person was going to see the problems. And I know that the board has tried to make some changes, right? They had the GM hire an HR person. They had him hire third-party investigators. They had him hire lawyers. But clearly there was a problem with those efforts, right? Because they didn't end up with the same result that this judge did. And I would argue that the problem is that the people the GM hired gave the answers that GM hired them to give. But this judge wasn't hired by the TTSA GM, so they got the answer that you got last Tuesday. So, where do you go from here? And based on what I've seen happen at TTSA, I think that you kind of have 3 options, or the way I see it, the 3 likely options. You can say you don't agree with the findings, but you aren't going to fight it. It's kind of like you did for the PERB ruling and the OSHA ruling and the EAOP ruling, which everyone kind of takes to mean from the outside that you don't like getting in trouble, but the action you got in trouble for is what the board wanted, so you live with it. The next one is you can fight it and let the lawyers make some more money on this project, and which is kind of what I feel like has happened for this case, right? You spent nearly $1 million, I think, on that Scully hearing with Dale 2 years ago, and you get the same answer over and over again, and spend more money on it. It looks like it's approaching. If you look at the payout and the lawyers, 2 million doesn't seem like an unreasonable number, this whole project. And then finally, you can take a leadership stance that what has happened isn't what the board wanted. And you take these exposed problems seriously, and you're going to take action to fix the problems. And I haven't seen that yet, but I do very much hope that that's the direction that you're going with this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pippin. Is there any other public comment, Rochelle?
I have no one else with their hand raised for public comment.
Okay. Thank you. So with that, we will close public comment and then move on to the closed session with legal counsel.